All right, I got all the joists sistered here at this house. Let's go and take a look, walk you around. And so if you have an old house like this where you had to rip the floor out and you want to try to fix it, this is kind of what I recommend that you do. First of all, if you think you need to fix your floor, I would probably say, why don't you just tear your house down or build a new house? Don't do it this way. But if you have to, for whatever reason, then here's an example of what I did, okay? Because here's why I say to tear the house down or build a new house, because I've been stripping this floor. You've seen my other videos. I've been stripping this floor for like, I don't know, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know. And then it took me 4 full days to put all the joists in, to sister all the joists, and I'm not even done. I have to do blocking everywhere. Wherever there's a wall, wherever I'm going to put my sheet down, I have to put blocking. So I also have to grab these exterior walls right here, and I got to grab them so that they don't collapse out on the bottom. The floor sheeting is going to help, but I also need a block along there, if that makes sense. And I got a block in there. Got to go along and insulate the rim joist. But it's in. And there's probably a 3.5 inch difference in this floor. So what I did before I started stripping it, I came over here with the owner and we walked around with my laser and we found out the highest point, that's the highest point, okay? So you can see that joist is pretty much level with the other one. I could have probably got away with a 2x4 sister, but I didn't know what condition these joists were in because I couldn't see up in the floor because this was before the floor was stripped when I ordered the lumber, okay? So, as you see, this was a high point. Then I turn around here, and you can see that the floor gets progressively worse, okay? It starts dipping in here. As I'm walking, the way we're walking, that's where you see the floor starts dipping. Now you see where these ugly little crawl space stairs are? You see how bad that is right there? See that? That's how low the floor was, okay? And then I still have to do some blocking back into that closet. And then I just took that same, see where that spider mark is, that X looking thing? I took that elevation and I shot it through the whole house with my laser. So wherever you see a little mark on the wall that says 7.5 down to joists elevation, I shot that everywhere so I could just move my laser from room to room. And then all I had to do was put a block, 7.5 inch block on top of my joist, and wherever I found the laser, I shoot it. So you see I still got my laser over here in this room. It's still working for me. And that's how I know how to put the joists at 7.5, because the offset on the laser is 6 plus 1.5 inch block. That's 7.5. That's my offset. Now, if there was ever a space where I didn't have a floor joist to set the laser on, then what I did is I just built up the laser with blocks or paper or shims or whatever until it hit my elevation marks. So the worst part, like you can see in here, this is an example of the worst part here. I got a 2x6 out of 2x6, and you see that difference there? That's probably a 3.5, 4 inch difference. So that means out of this house, just for me to level up the floor, they lost 4 inches of their ceiling height. It's not a huge deal in these old houses because usually what they did is they took the 8-foot stud right on 8 foot, then a bottom plate 1.5 inches, 2 top plates 3 inches, so 4.5 inches. So these old houses, floor to ceiling framing is usually like 8 foot, 4.5, okay? Well, now you got about 8 foot, okay? So it's kind of closer to a modern 8-foot ceiling. So it kind of works out in these old houses. But, I mean, it's just like, I mean, it's way better than it was, but still, it's like, do you want to go through all this work? I mean, I could have framed this whole floor and sheeted it in 3 days easy by myself if I would have just had it on a foundation. But it took me 3 days, and that's with I had a helper for a little while, and that's just putting the joists on. Now I got to go back and do all the blocking. The blocking will probably take, I don't know, 3 days, 6 days, who knows. And then whenever you do stuff like this, you're gonna, I try not to have the floor where it's gonna squeak, but there's gonna be little things like where my joists come together. You know, I've tried to nail them and everything, and I'm gonna go under and block those, but that's a potential squeak right there. So if you have a new floor, then you're gonna have a lot less possibility for squeaking. So you see that? I just stepped on this one. You hear the ugly squeak? I'm trying to shut up so you can hear the squeak. Yeah, you hear it, right? You hear it creaking? So it's just like, now I'm not going to say that's my fault. Maybe it's something of the old wood, because I can't just tear every single floor joist out of this house, because then I have to tear all the interior walls out too. So it's like there's some squeaks that you just can't remediate those. You just have to live with those. So if squeaks are bothering you, then you probably should just tear the house down and build a new one. Okay. But sometimes it's worth it to do this. Okay. I can give the owner a pretty affordable price on this because I live right in town, and I've done this several times on houses. I don't have a high overhead, but it's usually cost prohibitive to do it this way. So anyway, hope the little walk through here has given you some good ideas and some good advice. This is pretty dangerous too, because you're just constantly dancing on these joists, and you know, if you fall through something like this, it might be a sprained ankle. But then if you're over here on the higher part, you know, depending on how you fall, that could be a testicle wrecker, or you could go all the way down and it could break your hip. It's just, I mean, this is dangerous. I'm used to walking around on floors and stuff, but I still don't like open floors. I still don't like doing it this way. It's kind of creepy. So don't, you know, take into consideration all the risks when evaluating whether you want to do it this way. There's a little header right there what I put in the floor, because I think we're going to bust out 2 of those cinder blocks right there, because if he puts in ducts for the heating system, then they're going to go through there. So just little stuff like that. All right. Well, thanks for all the subscribers. I'm almost up to 200, and hope you enjoy the content. Sorry I don't have time to edit it, but what do you expect from a non-monetized YouTube channel? All right. We'll see you next time.